Welcome to this video lecture. Myself Atul Kumar, working as an assistant professor in Department of Computer Science, Rajiv Gandhi Memorial, Government College, Jogindanagar. This video lecture is basically the introductory part of database management system. So before discussing what is database management system, we should know about what is data. So data is actually a raw fact, and what is the meaning of raw fact? The fact that have not yet been processed to reveal the meaningful information. So let us consider the example of a student, those want to get admission in a college. So they fill the admission form in the college where they want to seek admission. So the admission form which is duly filled by the student consists of some important raw facts. These raw facts includes student name, their father name, and what is the address, their previous results. All are the raw facts. This is not actually the information. So the data is also contains a multimedia file such as image, audio file, and video clip. So what is information? When we process the data, and after processing we get the meaningful information or form, that meaningful form is called as information. After processing we get the meaningful form, and that meaningful form is called as information. So that information is very useful in decision making. As an example, when we collect data from the student for seeking admissions in the colleges, so that data is processed to get the meaningful information to create the merit list of the student, so that the students with higher in merit will get admission in the colleges. So this one is actually the showcase how the data is different from the information. So this one is actually a data. When we process the data, it will converted into information. Suppose this one is a number, and we don't know what actually this number is. It can be a date of birth, it can be a roll number of the student, it can be a telephone number. We don't know actually what actually this number represents. So this one is a raw data or a raw fact. And when we process this, and after processing this, we get this kind of structure of data: 15, then oblique 206, then oblique 2009. From this we can say this one is a kind of date, and date is date of birth in this example. So what is a database management system? It is basically the collection of logically related data and the set of programs to access the data. So basically database management system is the combination of two components, and these two components are database and a DBMS, that is database management system. So what is a database? So database is a collection of logically related data that can be recorded. The information stored in the database must have the following properties. The first property is that it must be a real word. It can't be a imaginary. The data that is in the database must be a real word aspect, like college, company, car, anything that have a real word existence. Also, the database must be designed, developed, and implemented for a particular specific purpose. There must exist an intended group of users who must have some preconceived applications of the data. Next, we have a database management system. I have already discussed what is DBMS. It is a combination of database and DBMS. So in case of DBMS, it refers to the set of programs for defining, creation, maintenance, and manipulation of database. So basically it is a software. DBMS is a software, and in that software we have a set of programs for creating the database, for defining the database, for maintenance, and for the manipulation of the database. So we have different kind of functions related to DBMS. The first function of DBMS is defining of database schema. So it DBMS must facilitate defining the database structure, that is defining of data types, relationship among different type of data, and specification of integrity constraint to be enforced on the database. The next kind of function of DBMS is manipulation of database, and it includes insertion of new data in the database, deletion of data which might have been rendered, and the updation of the information that can be that might have been changed. The next function of DBMS is sharing of the database. So DBMS must ensure concurrent access of shared data items by the multiple user while preserving the consistency of the database. The next functions we have the protection of the database, that is the DBMS must protect the database against unauthorized or access. So there is also a function to protect from the unauthorized access by just setting the password or some other kind of identification like face recognition, etc. The next function of DBMS is database recovery, and in this if the system fail, so the DBMS must facilitate the database recovery. Next I want to discuss about what are the what actually the purpose of database system. So before discussing this, we should go in the ancient or early days, and in early days the database applications were built on the top of the file system. So in early days we have a dedicated systems, and these dedicated systems are called file processing systems. So but for handling after handling these file systems, we have some several drawbacks of using file systems to store data. The first drawback is data redundancy and inconsistency. Since the data redundancy means duplication of data, the same information is stored in multiple places. So if the same information is stored in or duplicated in different files, so it is very difficult to just modify the information to access the information, and it results in the data inconsistency problem during the updates. Also it results in difficulty in accessing of the data. So as the information is stored in different files, but the existing set of application programs do not support extraction of that information, in that case we need to write a new program to carry out each new task. The next drawback of file processing system is data isolation. So the information is scattered over a large number of files on a number of stand-alone machines, making it very difficult to process certain queries which need information to be extracted from multiple locations. So it also lead to some constraint, integrity constraint, and it is very hard to add new constraint or to change the existing ones. The next problem in file processing system, we have a atomicity of or update problem. So suppose sometimes there is a system failure, and in case of system failure, if some information in multiple files, then this results in the database in the inconsistent state with partial updates. for example, we have a transfer of funds from one account to another account should either be complete or should not happen at all. The next just disadvantage of file processing system, we have a concurrent access or difficulty in concurrency control. So it is complex to build in the complex concurrency control features at the application program level. So uncontrolled concurrent access can lead to inconsistencies. The next problem we have is security problems. So the information is scattered, as I have already discussed, and does not have centralized access path. Affecting enforcing of user access rights will not be fail proof. So to just handle these problems, we have just invented database systems that offer solutions to all these above problems. So this is the actually the basically the database system environment. In this case, the first is the user or programmers that we are, and the next level is the application programs or queries. Next, in the next part, we have a database DBMS software that consists of a software to process queries and software to access the stored data. The stored data is there are different software to access this stored data from the database, like MySQL is there, Oracle is there, and SQL commands be there to access or to process queries. We have different kinds of SQL commands like create, DDL commands be there, DML commands be there, insert, update, etc. So all this is basically a database system. Next is what are the different features or characteristics of database approach. The first feature is the self-describing nature of the database system. So the self-describing means a database have a catalog that stores the description of the database, and the description is called as metadata. What is metadata? Metadata is the data about data, and this allows the DBMS software to work with different databases. So there is one concept in database. We have a data dictionary, and database system support data dictionary, and it contains the information about data types, relationship among data, and data constraint of the underlying databases. In addition, it also contains the information about authorized user of the database, like their access rights, etc. The next characteristic of database approach is that why we are using database approach, that is insulation between programs and data. So this means a program data independence. We can just focus on our database, and the programmers creating the program, and we are not bother about what we want to change. If we want to change the data, then this does not change the program or the structure of the program. So it allows the changing data storage structures and operation without having to change the DBMS access program. Suppose we want to change the structure of the that data structure, storage structure. So without changing that program, we can change the storage structure. But in case of file processing, this is not this was not possible in case of file processing. And the result, this is because suppose we have a text file, and in text file that is a comma oriented file, and after suppose we have written to a program to access all the words from the file, comma oriented file, but after some days, just we have created another text file, and that contains the spaces and does not contains the commas. So that program that is written for comma separated file, that can't be used for the words, the file that contains the words that are separated with the help of, with the spaces. So we have to write a new program. But this s- uh, kind of uh, this kind of problem can be solved with the help of this database approach. The next characteristic of database approach is data abstraction. So abstraction is basically to hide the storage details and to just present the important details to the user. So data abstraction is also a very important concept and important feature of database management system. The next important feature is data support of multiple views of the data. So each user may see a different view of the database, which describes only the data of interest to the user. So I am giving you example. Suppose we in the college we have different kind of clerks that have different functions. Like one clerk is handling the problem the handling financial matters, the other clerical staff is handling fee related matters. So we are just creating the whole database. So just we are giving the access to fee related matters to the clerk that is handling these matters, and for other that is just creating or just handling financial matter, we are just giving those user that access to only that part of the system. Next we have important characteristics: sharing of data and multiple user transaction processing. So it allow a set of concurrent users to retrieve and to update the database. Next important characteristic is concurrency control. So DBMS support concurrency control tools for permitting multiple users or application programs to access the database concurrently while preserving the consistency of the database. The next important characteristic of database management system is security management. So security mechanism of the database system ensure that only the authorized user can access the database, and that to only to the extent which explicitly authorized by the database administrator. The authorized access right are stored in the data dictionary that I have discussed, that it stores the information about data types. Also it stores the information about authorized access right. uh, the access by each user and the type of operations performed on various data will be monitored and controlled by DBMS. The next important feature is database recovery. So it maintains, or database maintains, logs of all important transactions, all transaction not important, all transactions being executed. So after in case of failure, recovery will be done. For example, if a transaction fails during its execution, it is rolled back to initial state and reverting to the consistent state that existed prior to the commencement of the failed transaction. Next, what are the different applications of databases? So databases are used everywhere from banking sector, for creating a accounts, all the accounts are created and stored in different databases. And in case of airlines, railways, for reservation purposes, for schedules, and in case of institutions, university, for registration of students, the data is stored in databases, and queries, various queries are just processed to get the information from the database. In case of sales, customer products purchases, like in case of Flipkart, Amazon, when we just do some online purchasing, all the data that we see is in their database, and that database is very large. And in today's large data, there is a new term used in that case, that is a big data. The next, in manufacturing sectors, production, inventory, orders, and supply chain management. In case of human recruitments, like employee records, their salaries, tax deductions, all are stored or used database, are the applications of databases. Thanks for watching this video lecture.